Okay, so this is going to be the first video for Unit 3, Day 4 of Algebra 2. In it, we're briefly just going to discuss how to solve square root equations. Not going to take long at all to get the hang of this, just because, it's just basic algebra. There is one little catch here, and you'll see that here in our second example. Okay, so first example we've got here, number one. Okay, so just like anything else, this is very similar to when we were solving absolute value equations. We want to get the square root equation, or the square root expression rather, by itself. So let's go ahead and do that. We add 4 to both sides, and we see that we have the square root of x is equal to 6. Then we know the inverse of square root is to square, so x is equal to 36, right? And we've got it. Simple, right? And of course, we can double check our work. We can say the square root of 36 now minus 4 should be equal to 2. And of course, we get 6 minus 4, which is in fact equal to 2. Right now, we're going to see that doesn't always work. Okay, so if you ever do the algebra and you go back and check and it doesn't work, don't freak out. That is a thing. It's called an extraneous solution. This guy, however, worked out. So this is 100% just a solution. It is non-extraneous. Okay. So second example. Okay. So like I said, we're going to want to get the square root expression by itself first. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. So I have x minus 5 is equal to the square root of x minus 3. Okay. Then I'm going to square both sides. So now I've got x minus 5 all squared is equal to x minus 3. Now, here's a little trick I've shown y'all before, but I don't know if you remember it. If you ever have a perfect square, like a plus b all squared, it could be minus b, doesn't really matter. It's always going to FOIL out into the first number squared plus 2 times the numbers multiplied together plus the second number squared. Okay, so that's going to work just like that here. So x minus 5 all squared, if I was to FOIL that out, well, I already know I'm going to take a shortcut and just plug into this. It's going to be the first number squared, in this case, minus the two numbers multiplied together times 2. So 5 times 1 times 2, right? And plus the last number squared. Okay, so this would FOIL out into this. Feel free to pause right now and FOIL that out just to see for yourself. But yeah, useful trick, saves a lot of time. Okay, so now we see we have a quadratic. Okay, and what I'm going to want to do is go ahead and get this stuff over here, combined like terms, so that I can rewrite it in standard form. So I'm going to have, nothing's going to combine with x squared, right? The negative 10x will combine with this. So I'm going to do minus x to both sides, so minus 11x. And this minus 3 will change to plus 3 on the other side, so plus 28. And now I have it in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Okay, now I can easily factor this. Okay, so there's no a term, so I can just fill in the blank. X plus or minus something times x plus or minus something else must be equal to what this guy is originally, right? And the answer to that would just be minus 7 minus 4. Negative 7 times negative 4 gives us positive 28. Negative 7 combines with negative 4 to give us the negative 11 that we need. Okay, so my two solutions to this equation are x is equal to 4 and x is equal to 7, right? Because we use the zero product principle there. If you have questions over that, come and see me, but we should know that. Okay, so x is equal to 4 and 7. So now we need to make sure that neither of these is extraneous. So 4 minus 3, well, that gives me 1. Plus 5 is 6. And then here for this x, I'm going to plug in that same 4. And 4 does not equal 6. So this solution right here is extraneous. Okay, so let's just double check now with the 7 and make sure that the 7 is not extraneous. Okay, so 7 minus 3, well, that's 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 plus 5 is 7. And 7 does, in fact, equal 7. So this solution actually checks out. Okay? So again, when you go back and check your work, don't freak out and think that you did something wrong. You probably didn't do anything wrong. It probably is just an extraneous solution. Okay? So now one last example and we'll end this video. So again, get the square root expression by itself, divide by 2 on both sides, square both sides, subtract by 4, and we see that x is 0. Now we need to double check and make sure that it's not extraneous the way that this 4 earlier was. Right, so I plug back in. 0 plus 4 is 4. The square root of 4 is 2. 2 times 2 does, in fact, give me 4. Okay, so that solution checks out as well. So that does it for this video and how to solve square root equations. Like always, let me know if you need anything, you know where to find me.